Valley News Live at 9. I'm Justin Betty. The city of Fargo is now looking to move forward after their vote to expand the FARGODOME failed last December. They've been conducting surveys asking voters for their opinions on a potential dome expansion project. But as Valley News team Zachary Wyatt explains, getting timely results is proving to be a challenge.
After a failed FARGODOME expansion vote last December, officials are looking forward to what's next. Part of this is a scientific studies survey, which aims to get a feel for where Fargo voters stand on potential dome expansion.
It's the way that has been decided for the board and the city to go about finding just what is it that the citizens would like, the voting citizens would like.
The surveys have already started, but getting the results from them has hit a snag. The FARGODOME Authority originally planned to have the data needed, 400 completed responses, within 30 days. They say that's likely not going to happen.
At this time, we're still in the waiting mode to get the information from that survey, and it sounds like we're another 3 to 4 weeks out from receiving that.
Once the board does receive all that data, they plan to present it during a joint meeting with Fargo City Commission. From there, the city will decide whether or not they want to go forward with another vote, and what that vote could potentially look like.
Once we have the information out of that, we'll have an idea if the FARGODOME is proceeding forward with the idea of another vote for the renovation to the FARGODOME, how or may or if the convention center fits into that equation.
For now, the board has decided to wait and see before finalizing their next steps. Reporting in Fargo, Zachary Wyatt, Valley News Live.